Food. Food is the staple of childhood memories. Food is a staple of culture. Food is a staple of humanity. Today, we will look at one of the most overlooked yet rich cuisines on our planet in both culture and flavor. Qingzhen cai. But what even is Qingzhen cai? In short, Qingzhen cai, or Qingzhen food, is Chinese halal food. But if you're not exactly sure what this means, you're not alone. Rules for halal food are more clearly defined, but even scholars can't really decide on what Qingzhen means. In this short documentary, we will back up David Stroop's definition of Qingzhen, which we'll go on later to explain. Firstly, we need to understand what halal means. As halal management researcher Mohammed Sazwan Talib explains, halal is defined as permitted in the context of Islamic law. Halal is normally associated with food products, but it is more than just concerning food. Halal also involves cosmetic products, pharmaceutical products, services such as banking and finance, and tourism. Most of these halal rules are pretty clearly laid out. For example, the Quran directly states that carcasses, blood, and pork is haram, or forbidden. Intoxicants, like alcohol, gambling, and idolatrous practices are haram, and animals improperly slaughtered are also haram. Okay, that makes sense. But what about Qingzhen? What does Qingzhen mean? Well, it's complicated. Firstly, Qingzhen directly translates to pure and true, but that's not exactly what it means. Most Chinese Muslims understand Qingzhen to mean halal, but that's also not the full picture. Researchers have tried to answer this question before, but there's no current scholarly consensus on the definition of Qingzhen. Firstly, Maris Boyd-Gillette claims that although the concept of Qingzhen addressed food, consumption, and food productions, residents did not stop at food when talking about Qingzhen. Additionally, in an imam interview conducted by Yukari Tsai and Johann Fischer, Qingzhen means lawful to Islamic belief and what is required from Islamic teaching. While this is true, the reality is not this simple. We believe, based on interviews with religious leaders, that the most accurate definition of Qingzhen comes from David Stroop. In daily usage, however, the term usually refers to dietary matters and implies that food is permissible for Muslims to eat. Did you notice that? It's alcohol in a Qingzhen restaurant? What's going on with that? To answer this question, we've interviewed two Shanghai imams. Imam Zhao Yang from Shanghai's Xiao Taoyuan Mosque and Imam from Shanghai Pudong Masjid, who asked to remain unnamed. First and foremost, the unnamed imam strongly emphasized the fact that every Muslim's situation is different. If there is any confusion about Islam's rules, please ask your imam. This imam states that the consumption, sale, and production of alcohol is strictly prohibited. However, in a non-Muslim dominant city like Shanghai, these rules are not so clear-cut. Additionally, while the core rules for Islam are unchanged, different religious leaders may take slightly different interpretations. So again, please do not take this documentary as religious advice. That being said, however, our interviews do provide strong evidence to back up David Stroop's scholarly claim. Qingzhen refers primarily to food. With our research, we found that at least in Shanghai, religious leaders almost exclusively use the word Qingzhen to describe food or food products. In a sense, Qingzhen is halal. Qingzhen foods do follow the same halal food rules. To Imam Zhao Yang, we asked.
一个清真餐厅还有什么规则？
有的，清真餐厅当中呢，所要禁食的就是说死物、血液，有死物、血液，这都不允许有在清真餐厅出现。还有呢，清真餐厅也不允许有伊斯兰所禁食的，比如说我们正常情况是牛、羊、驼，牛、羊、驼、鸡、鸭、鹅啊这些。那伊斯兰去禁食的不仅仅光有猪肉啊，不仅仅光有这个酒类 那么还有什么？比如说一些动物，有一些食肉的动物，比如说猫啊、狗啊这些，或者是一些食肉的狼虫、虎豹，这些都是不允许的。有獠牙的、有爪子的，都不允许。就在清真餐厅当中不允许经营这一些。中国人呢，把哈拉里，哈拉里，我们把它翻译成清真。哈拉姆呢，就是非法的，就是不清真的东西。
对。
不清真的东西，这是它国际通用的是哈拉里。但是中国人认为呢，什么是哈拉里？就是清真食品，就是清真，因为你完全按照伊斯兰的要求去做了，这个东西就叫清真食品。
It sounds simple, right? It seems like Qingzhen simply means halal. But the reality is a little bit more complex. While Qingzhen is indeed a translation of halal, the word Qingzhen is used only to refer to food. We asked the Imam, outside of food, will you use the term halal or will you say Qingzhen?
清真呢，指的仅仅就是肉食方面的。肉食方面的。
食物以外，你们还会用这个清真字，像 express，
就是表示
别的东西吗？
食物以外的话没有了。没有了。但是我们如果是盖这个安拉的朝房的话，会用清真两个。
Again, besides the term for mosque, the word Qingzhen is exclusively for food.
清真指的就是饮食，那么你不能说是什么呢？这个饮料喝的东西喝的，比如说饮料、水，你打个清真不允许的。我们的清真的东西呢，基本上我们是指的是什么呢？就是肉食的东西。肉食的就是你所经营的范围当中是含有肉的。这个比如说你的经营的里面，你需要用到鸡精，比如说鸡精或者是牛羊肉这些鸡肉、羊肉、鸡鸭鹅这些东西，你需要有这个东西的，那你就必须要有清真的。如果比如说你经营一家这个什么呢，卖水的，或者是这个什么呢，就是素食餐厅，那就不需要打清真的。清真呢，指的仅仅就是肉食方面的。
Okay, that's super interesting. It seems like, at least according to Imam Zaoyang, that Qingzhen is a term specific to food. But what does that mean about the sale of alcohol? Alcohol isn't a food, so is it Qingzhen?
如果一家餐厅卖酒的话，就是它还能算一家清真餐厅吗？
能
算。
这个因为呢，酒是另一种概念。酒在伊斯兰当中是严厉禁止的，禁止饮酒。但是清真餐厅呢，它所经营的，我们所说的清真呢，是什么呢？牛肉、羊肉，还有它的肉食东西，还有它的原材料是清真的。这就算清真的食品。
Now for the big question. What does the Quran say about alcohol?
酒是 haram， 酒是禁止的，酒是污秽，你们当远离。饮酒、赌博、抽签、算卦，这是污秽的，是恶魔的行为，你们应当去远离。
可是一个清真餐厅还可以卖酒？
清真餐厅来说呢，如果是一个真正的清真餐厅，的话是不允许卖酒的。是不允许卖酒的。如果这家清真餐厅当中，就是说卖酒了，是否属于清真的？属于清真的。为什么呢？因为这是两部分，两个概念，明白我的意思吗？就是说，酒是一个概念，食品是一个概念。酒不属于食品的。明白。
That seems to answer the alcohol question. It's very clear. Alcohol is haram. It's prohibited. It's not halal. However, even though alcohol is not halal, that doesn't mean it's not Qingzhen. Instead, we can't simply use the word Qingzhen to talk about alcohol, since alcohol isn't a food product. This is the difference between Qingzhen and halal. All Qingzhen foods are halal, but Qingzhen only refers to food. Not everything halal is food, so not everything halal can be considered Qingzhen. Okay, so that's what the Imam says about Qingzhen food. But how does it hold up in practice? Do Qingzhen restaurant owners echo these aforementioned ideas? To find out, we visit an old familiar site back in Jinqiao, the hole in the wall, or as it's formerly known as 特色西北餐馆.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Absolutely delectable. I mean, Qingzhen food is one of my favorite Chinese cuisines to ever exist. The cumin, the pepper flakes, and whatever magic they put in their rice and skewers is unparalleled to anything else on this planet. Every bite of this masterpiece reminds me of sunny afternoons with close friends, having great conversations about our day and how things are gonna be over this delicious plate of food. Naturally, due to all the times I've came and eaten at this restaurant, I knew the Laoban very well, and I was very lucky to be able to interview him about the customs of halal food and how he operates his restaurant. So, what year did you come over to start your restaurant? We have been here for over 10 years. Do you know if there are a lot of Muslim shop owners in China? The ones in Shanghai are mostly from Gansu, Qinghai, and Xinjiang. They are all Muslim. I understand Qingzhen Cai has some regulations and rules. What rules do you have to follow when you make Qingzhen? Whenever we make halal food, we must have special people deliver our meats to us. The meats must be halal. It must be from Muslim butchers. So I understand that in Islam, you cannot drink alcohol. Do you sell alcohol? We don't. Qingzhen restaurants should not have alcohol or smoke. Even if business is good, we cannot sell these products. This certification here says that you're Qingzhen. How does the government recognize that you are Qingzhen? So this certification comes from our 身份证, our identification. We are a ethnic minority, and they have to go for our identification in order to qualify us as Qingzhen. 是的，是的，我们学很多。好的，谢谢老板。So what did we learn for this short exploration of Shanghai Qingzhen food? Firstly, we learned that Qingzhen food is an important part of Chinese Muslim lives. But also, the word Qingzhen is not as simple as pure and true, nor is it as simple as a direct translation of halal. Instead, according to our imam interviews, Qingzhen is specifically used to talk about food. Of course, it's important to realize that there are regional differences. Our study was focused on Shanghai, so we can't really speak about different Chinese provinces. But regardless, we hope that this little documentary has taught you something about this amazing little niche in the culinary world.